Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I'm going to tell you a story that's going to leave you absolutely speechless. It's about a Navy SEAL, one of the most elite warriors in the world, who found himself in a situation that would break most people in just days. His name was Lieutenant Marcus Donovan, and what happened to him in the mountains of Afghanistan in 2009 is something that still gives military historians chills. Imagine being completely alone, wounded, hunted by the Taliban, with no communication, no supplies, and everyone back home thinking you're dead. Now imagine surviving that for 90 days. Yeah, 90 days. This is a story of survival, willpower, and the kind of mental strength that most of us can't even comprehend. So sit back, because this one is intense, and it's going to make you think about what the human spirit is truly capable of. The night sky over Kunar province was moonless and black as ink. Lieutenant Marcus Donovan crouched in the darkness, his M4 carbine pressed tight against his shoulder, scanning the rocky terrain through his night vision goggles. Everything glowed green in the artificial light. His breathing was controlled, steady. Around him, his SEAL team moved like ghosts through the mountain pass, each man a shadow among shadows. It was October 12, 2009, and Task Unit Viper was deep inside Taliban territory on what should have been a routine extraction mission. Intelligence had reported that a group of Afghan civilians, including women and children, were being held hostage in a compound approximately 3 clicks north of their position. Command wanted them out before dawn. Alpha 1, this is Viper 6, Marcus whispered into his radio, his voice barely audible. We're approaching the compound, no movement detected. Copy that, Viper 6. The response crackled in his earpiece. Proceed with caution, we've got your back. But they didn't have his back. Not really, because what neither Marcus nor Command knew was that the intelligence was wrong, dead wrong. This wasn't a hostage situation, it was a trap. Marcus had been a Navy SEAL for 7 years. He'd survived Bud-S training when 70% of his class had rung the bell and quit. He'd deployed 4 times to Iraq and Afghanistan. He'd conducted raids, extractions, reconnaissance missions in some of the most dangerous places on Earth. At 31 years old, he was a seasoned operator, a team leader who his men trusted with their lives. He had a wife back home in Virginia Beach, Sarah, and a 4-year-old daughter named Emma, who thought her daddy was a superhero. In a way, she wasn't wrong. The compound appeared suddenly as they crested a rocky ridge. It was a typical Afghan structure. Mud brick walls surrounding a central courtyard, flat roofs where sentries might be posted. Marcus raised his fist and the team froze. 6 men, all specialists in direct action, held their positions in the shadows. The only sound was the wind whistling through the mountain pass. I don't like this, whispered Chief Petty Officer Jake Sullivan, Marcus's second in command. It's too quiet. Marcus nodded slowly. His instincts were screaming the same thing. In 7 years of combat operations, he'd learned to trust that inner voice, that primitive warning system that had kept him alive when logic and training weren't enough. Command, this is Viper 6, Marcus whispered. Recommend we abort. Something's not right here. There was a pause. Then, negative, Viper 6. We have confirmed intel that hostages are inside. Execute the mission. Marcus clenched his jaw. Orders were orders. Roger that. Moving in. They approached the compound in a tactical wedge formation, weapons raised, every sense heightened. Marcus's heart rate was elevated but controlled. This was what they trained for. This was what they did. The gate was unlocked. Another red flag. Marcus pushed it open slowly and the team flowed into the courtyard like water. The main building was directly ahead. Dark windows like empty eye sockets staring back at them. That's when everything went to hell. The explosion came from the left, a massive detonation that turned night into day for a split second. The shockwave hit Marcus like a physical wall, lifting him off his feet and hurling him backward. His ears rang with a high-pitched whine. Through the smoke and chaos, he saw muzzle flashes erupting from every direction. The courtyard lit up with tracer rounds cutting through the darkness like deadly fireflies. Ambush! Fall back! Someone screamed, but the voice sounded distant, muffled by the ringing in Marcus's ears. He rolled to his knees, bringing his weapon up, returning fire at the muzzle flashes. Taliban fighters were pouring out of the buildings, at least 30 of them, maybe more. This wasn't a hostage situation. This was a kill zone, carefully prepared and expertly executed. "Move! Move! Move!" Marcus yelled, his voice hoarse. His team was scattered, pinned down by overwhelming fire. He saw Jake go down, hit in the leg. Another SEAL, Rodriguez, was dragging him toward cover. Marcus laid down, suppressing fire. His M4 bucking against his shoulder in controlled bursts. Empty shell casings clinked on the ground around his feet. He ejected the spent magazine and slammed in a fresh one without thinking, pure muscle memory from thousands of hours of training. "Command, this is Viper 6, we're compromised, we need immediate extraction. Heavy contact, multiple enemy combatants." But his radio was dead. The explosion must have damaged it. They were on their own. The firefight was brutal and chaotic. Marcus moved through the compound on pure instinct, firing, moving, taking cover, firing again. The air stank of cordite and dust. Bullets whined past his head, impacting the mud brick walls with solid thunks. One grazed his shoulder, a line of fire across his deltoid, but adrenaline kept the pain at bay. He saw his team fighting their way toward the southern wall, toward their exfil route. 3 men were carrying Jake. Marcus provided cover, methodically dropping Taliban fighters who emerged from doorways and around corners. "Go, I'll cover you," Marcus shouted. "We're not leaving you," Rodriguez yelled back. "That's an order. Get them out of here." The decision was made for them when an RPG streaked across the courtyard and exploded against the southern wall, collapsing part of it and creating a choke point his team could slip through. Marcus watched them disappear into the darkness, still firing. Good. At least they had a chance. He turned back to face the compound, now swarming with Taliban fighters. His magazine was nearly empty. He was alone, and he was about to make the hardest decision of his life. Marcus ran, not out of fear, but out of tactical necessity. He sprinted north, away from the compound, away from his team's exfil route, drawing the enemy's attention. If they followed him, they wouldn't follow his men. It was the only play he had, and they followed. Of course they followed. They wanted the American special operator, the prize catch. Marcus ran through the mountain terrain, his boots pounding on rocky ground, his lungs burning in the thin air. Behind him, he heard shouts in Pashto and the sound of pursuit. He ran for an hour, maybe more, time becoming meaningless in the darkness. His night vision goggles died, batteries drained, and he tore them off, relying on starlight and memory. He finally collapsed in a narrow ravine, his body shaking with exhaustion. Blood soaked his left shoulder where the bullet had grazed him. His radio was destroyed. His GPS unit was shattered. He had no communication, no way to call for help, no way to let command know he was alive. As dawn broke over the Hindu Kush mountains, painting the peaks gold and orange, Marcus Donovan realized the terrible truth of his situation. He was approximately 200 miles behind enemy lines, in some of the most hostile territory on the planet, surrounded by people who would torture and execute him if they caught him, and his own people thought he was dead. The Taliban had his dog tags. They'd find them in the compound. Standard procedure would be to declare him KIA, killed in action. There would be no rescue mission. There would be no extraction. He was alone. Marcus looked down at his hands, scratched and bloody, and made a decision. If he was going to die, it wouldn't be here, it wouldn't be today. He was going home to Sarah and Emma no matter what it took. The first week was the hardest. Marcus's shoulder wound became infected, despite his attempts to clean it with water from mountain streams. Fever racked his body at night, leaving him shivering under rock overhangs, delirious with pain. He had no antibiotics, no medical supplies beyond the basic first aid kit in his vest, which was barely adequate for a gunshot graze. He moved only at night, traveling south and west, toward the Pakistani border, where American forces were most active. During the day, he hid in caves, under brush, anywhere he could avoid detection. Taliban patrols were everywhere, searching for him. Several times he had to lie completely still while fighters walked within feet of his hiding spot, barely breathing, his hand on his knife, ready to kill if discovered. Food was scarce. Marcus had completed SEER training, survival, evasion, resistance, escape. But knowing survival techniques and actually surviving in hostile territory were different things. He ate whatever he could find: roots, insects. Once a snake he killed with a rock. His body weight dropped rapidly. His uniform hung loose on his frame. Water was easier. The mountains had streams, though he had to be careful. Taliban fighters used the same water sources. More than once he had to wait hours for an area to clear before he could fill his canteen. The mental battle was worse than the physical. Isolation is a special kind of torture. Marcus talked to himself, to Sarah, to Emma, just to hear a human voice, even if it was his own. He recited the SEAL Creed over and over, a mantra to keep his mind focused. I will never quit. I persevere and thrive on adversity. My nation expects me to be physically harder and mentally stronger than my enemies. By day 30, Marcus had covered approximately 80 miles. His beard had grown long and unkempt. His uniform was torn and filthy. He looked more like a refugee than a Navy SEAL, but he was alive, and he was moving. He avoided all human contact, even friendly-looking locals. He couldn't risk it. The Taliban had informants everywhere, and trust could get him killed. So he remained a ghost, a shadow passing through the landscape. On day 43, Marcus encountered his closest call. He'd taken shelter in an abandoned shepherd's hut as dawn approached, too exhausted to continue. He'd just fallen into a fitful sleep when voices woke him. Taliban fighters, at least 10 of them, were setting up a checkpoint directly outside the hut. Marcus lay flat on the dirt floor, barely breathing, his knife in his hand. Through cracks in the mud walls, he watched them. They were young, most of them teenagers carrying AK-47s and wearing mismatched military gear. They laughed and talked, sharing food, completely unaware that an American was 15 feet away. He stayed there for 16 hours, not moving, not sleeping, barely breathing. His muscles cramped, his bladder screamed for relief. But he didn't move. SEALs are trained to hold still for days if necessary during reconnaissance operations. This was just another test, another challenge to overcome. When darkness finally fell and the Taliban fighters left, Marcus crawled out of the hut and vomited from stress and dehydration. Then he kept moving. By day 60, Marcus was a walking skeleton. His body had consumed its own muscle for fuel. His mind drifted sometimes, hallucinations brought on by starvation and exhaustion. He saw Sarah standing on distant ridges, calling to him. He saw Emma playing in mountain streams. He knew they weren't real, but part of him didn't care. They kept him company. His infected shoulder had finally healed, though it left an ugly scar. Small victories. He'd survived infections that killed other men. His body was breaking down, but his will remained iron. He was so close now. According to his dead reckoning and navigation by stars, he was within 50 miles of the Pakistan border, where American forces conducted regular patrols. 50 miles. He could make that. He had to. On day 78, Marcus stumbled upon a Taliban cache, weapons, ammunition, and more importantly, food. Dried fruit, rice, canned goods. He knew it was risky to stay, but his body was giving out. He needed calories, needed strength for the final push. He stayed hidden near the cache for 2 days, eating carefully to avoid overwhelming his shrunken stomach, regaining some strength. It was the first real food he'd had in over 2 months, and he almost wept at the taste of it. On day 85, Marcus heard the sound that made his heart stop. Helicopters. American helicopters. He'd recognize that rotor wash anywhere. They were close, maybe 5 miles away, but he had no flares, no radio, no way to signal them. He began running toward the sound, abandoning all caution, crashing through brush and over rocks. His lungs burned. His legs trembled with exhaustion. But he ran like his life depended on it, because it did. The helicopters, 2 Black Hawks flying low and fast, passed directly overhead. Marcus emerged into a clearing, waving his arms, screaming, "American, American soldier!" But they couldn't hear him over the rotor noise. They flew on, disappearing over the next ridge. Marcus collapsed to his knees, despair washing over him like a cold wave. He'd been so close, so damn close. But then he heard something else. Ground vehicles, Humvees, their diesel engines unmistakable. An American patrol was approaching from the south. Marcus forced himself to his feet. He pulled off his torn shirt, revealing the scars and skeletal frame beneath. He needed them to see he wasn't a threat, wasn't Taliban. He walked into the open, hands raised above his head. The convoy appeared around a bend in the dirt road. 3 Humvees, 50 cal machine guns mounted, soldiers in full combat gear. They saw him immediately, weapons coming up trained on the bearded figure standing in the road. "American," Marcus croaked, his voice hoarse from months of limited use. "Navy SEAL, Lieutenant Marcus Donovan." The convoy stopped, soldiers dismounted, weapons still raised, cautious. An army captain approached carefully. "Identify yourself." "Lieutenant Marcus Donovan, SEAL Team 3, serial number, November 73. His voice broke. He couldn't remember his full serial number. His mind was foggy, exhausted. The captain's eyes widened. "Donovan? Marcus Donovan? You're supposed to be dead. You were declared KIA 3 months ago." Marcus laughed, a sound somewhere between a sob and hysteria. "Yeah. Well, I guess nobody told me that." They surrounded him then, soldiers supporting his weight as his legs finally gave out. Someone was on the radio, voice urgent. "Command, this is Alpha 2-6. You're not going to believe this, but we just found Lieutenant Marcus Donovan. He's alive. Repeat, he is alive." Someone wrapped a blanket around Marcus's shoulders. Someone else was pressing a water bottle to his lips. Their voices sounded distant, muffled, as if he were underwater. Reality felt strange after so long alone. "How?" the captain asked. "How did you survive?" Marcus looked up at the sky, at the sun he'd navigated by for 90 days, at the mountains that had tried to kill him and failed. "One step at a time," he whispered. "Just one step at a time." Wow, I mean just wow, can you imagine what that must have been like? 90 days completely alone, wounded, hunted, presumed dead by everyone who cared about you. Marcus Donovan showed a level of mental and physical toughness that's almost impossible to comprehend. That's what SEAL training is really about. Not just physical strength, but the mental resilience to keep going when your body and mind are screaming at you to quit. Now I need to tell you something important. This story is a dramatized and fictionalized narrative created for educational purposes. While Marcus Donovan is a fictional character, stories like this, of special operators surviving against impossible odds behind enemy lines, have happened throughout military history. The experiences, the survival techniques, the mental battles. These are all based on real accounts from operators who faced similar situations. The goal here is to understand and honor the kind of sacrifice and strength that Special Operations Forces demonstrate, and to reflect on what human beings are capable of when pushed to their absolute limits. What did you think of this story? Could you survive something like that? What do you think kept Marcus going when most people would have given up? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And here's something I'm really curious about. Do you know any stories like this? Maybe from a family member who served, or from someone in your community? Military history is full of incredible survival stories that never get told. If you know one, share it in the comments. Let's honor those experiences together. Also, tell me, what city are you watching from right now? I love seeing where our community is from, how far these stories travel, connecting people from all over who appreciate military history and the sacrifices made by those who serve. If this story moved you, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more stories like this, and turn on notifications. Share this with someone who appreciates military history or who needs a reminder of what the human spirit can accomplish. Until next time, remember, never quit, never give up. That's what heroes are made of.